Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sutta Uvacha Jagrahe Purusham Rupam Bhagavan Mahad Adhibi Sambhutam Sudashakalam Adhuloka Sirashaya.
Sutta said, in the beginning of the creation, the Lord first expanded himself in the universal form of the Purusha incarnation and manifested all the ingredients for the material creation. And thus, at first, there was the creation of the 16 principles of material action. That this was for the purpose of creating the material universes.
Text 2. Yashyam hasi sayanasya yoga nidram vitanvata nabhi radham bhujad asid brahma vishya srijam pati.
A part of the Purusha lies down within the water of the universe. From the navel lake of his body sprouts a lotus stem, and from the lotus flower atop this stem, Brahma, the master of all engineers in the universe, becomes manifest.
Text 3. Yashya vayava samsthane kalpituloka vishvara tadvai bhagavato rupam vishuddham sattvam urjitam.
It is believed that all the universal planetary systems are situated on the extensive body of the Purusha, but he has nothing to do with the created material ingredients. His body is eternally in spiritual existence par excellence.
Text 4. Pashyanti adurupam adhabra chakshusha sahasra paduru bhujana bhutam sahasra murdha shravanakshi nashikam sahasramoli ambara kunda lulatsat.
The devotees with their perfect eyes see the transcendental form of the Purusha, who has thousands of legs, thighs, arms, and faces, all extraordinary. In their body, there are thousands of heads, ears, eyes, and noses. They are decorated with thousands of helmets and glowing earrings, and are adorned with garlands.
Text 5. Etannanavataranam nidhanam bijam avyayam yashyam samsena sridyante deva tiryannaradhaya.
This form, the second manifestation of the Purusha, is the source of and indestructible seed of multifarious incarnations within the universe. From the particles and portions of this form, different living entities like demigods, men, and others are created.
Text 6. Sa eva pratamam deva kumaram sargam ashrita chachara dushcharam brahmacharyam akhanditam.
First of all, in the beginning of creation, there were the 4 unmarried sons of Brahma, the Kumaras, who, being situated in a vow of celibacy, underwent serve austerities for realization of the absolute truth.
Text 7. Dvitiyam tu bhavayasya rasatala gatam mahim udharishyan upadata yajnesha shokaram vapu.
The supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices, accepted the incarnation of a boar, the second incarnation, and for the welfare of the earth, he lifted the earth from nether regions of the universe.
Text 8. Tritiyam rishi sargam ve devarsitvam upetyasa tanram satvatam achashta nishkaryam karmanam yatha.
In the millennium of the Risis, the personality of Godhead accepted the third empowered incarnation in the form of Devarsi Narada, who is a great sage among the demigods. He collected expositions of the Vedas, which deal with devotional service and which inspire non-fruitive action.
Text 9. Turye dharma kala sarge nara narayana vrashi bhutvatma pasamopetam akarot dushcharam tapa.
In the fourth incarnation, the Lord became Nara and Narayana, the twin sons of the wife of King Dharma. Thus he undertook severe and exemplary penances to control the senses.
Text 10. Panchama kapil nama siddhesha kala viputam provacha suraye sankyam tadvagrama vinirnayam.
The fifth incarnation, named Lord Kapila, is foremost among perfected beings. He gave an exposition of the creative elements and metaphysics to Asuri Brahmana, for in course of time this knowledge had been lost.
Text 11. Sashtam atre apatyatvam vritam prapto nashuyaya anvikshikim alar kaya prahaladibhya uchivan.
The sixth incarnation of the Purusa was the son of sage Atri. He was born from the womb of Anasuya, who prayed for an incarnation. He spoke on the subject of transcendence to Alarka, Prahalada, and others. Yadu, Haileya, etc.
Text 12. Tatha saptama akutyam ruchir yajno bhaya yata sayamadye suraganir apatswayam bhuvantaram.
The seventh incarnation was Yajna, the son of Prajapati Rishi and his wife Akuti. He controlled the period during the change of the Swayambhuva Manu and was assisted by demigods such as his son Yama.
Text 13. Ashtame merudhevyam tu nabhe jata urukrama darsayan vatma dhiranam sarvasrama namaskritam.
The eighth incarnation was King Ruspa, the son of King Nabi, and his wife Merudevi. In this incarnation, the Lord showed the path of perfection, which is followed by those who have fully controlled their senses and who are honored by all orders of life.
Text 14. Rishibhiryachitu bheje navamam partivam vapu dugdhe mam usadhir vipras tena yamsa usattama.
O Brahmanas, in the ninth incarnation, the Lord prayed for sages, accepted the body of a king, Prithu, who cultivated the land to yield various produce, and for that reason, the earth was beautiful and attractive.
Text 15. Rupam sa jagre matsyam chakshusro dadhi samplave navi aropya mahi mayam apadvaivashvatam manum.
When there was a complete inundation after the period of the Chakshumanu, and the whole world was deep within water, the Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Vasavata Manu, keeping him up on a boat.
Text 16. Surashuram Shuranam Udhadhim Matnatham Mandarachalam Dadre Kamatha Rupena Preshta Ekadasi Vibhu.
The 11th incarnation of the Lord took the form of a tortoise whose shell served as a pivot for the Mandachala hill, which was being used as a churning rod by the theists and atheists of the universe.
Text 17. Dhanvantharam Dwadasa Mam Trayodasa Mam Evacha Apaya Yatsuran Anyan Mohanyan Shtriya.
In the 12th incarnation, the Lord appeared as a Davanatari, and in the 13th, he allured the atheists by the charming beauty of a woman and gave her nectar to the demigods to drink.
Text 18. Chaturdasham Nara Simham Vidrat Daityendram Urjitam Dadara Karajer Urav Irakam Kathakridyatha.
In the 14th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Narasimha and bifurcated the strong body of the atheist Hiranyakasipu with his nails, just as the carpenter pierces cane.
Text 19. Panchadasham Vamanakam Kridvagat Advaram Bhale Padatrayam Yachamana Pratyadishu Stripishtapam.
In the 15th incarnation, the Lord assumed that the form of dwarf Brahma, Vamana, and visited the arena of the sacrifice arranged by Maharaja Bali. Although at heart he was willing to regain the kingdom of the planetary systems, he simply asked for a donation of 3 steps of land.
Text 20. Avatare Sadashame Pashyan Brahma Druho Nripan Trisapta Kridva Kupido Ni Shatram Akaron Mahin.
In the 16th incarnation of Godhead, the Lord, as Bhrigupati, annihilated the administrative class, Kshatriyas, 21 times, being angry with them because of their rebellion against the Brahmanas, the intelligent class.
Text 21. Tatha Saptadase Jata Satyavatyam Parasharat Chakreveda Taro Shakya Drishtva Pumsu Lapamedhasa.
Thereafter, in the 17th incarnation of Godhead, Sri Vyasadeva appeared in the womb of Satyavati through Pasara Muni, and he divided the one Veda into several branches and sub-branches, seeing that the people in general were less intelligent.
Text 22. Nara devatvam apanya surakarya chikirashya chikisaya samudra nigra hadini chakre viryani athaparam.
In the 18th incarnation, the Lord appeared as King Rama. In order to perform some pleasing work for the demigods, he exhibited superhuman powers by controlling the Indian Ocean and then killing the atheist king Ravana, who was on the other side of the sea.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Drishti Mataji and Yashwant. It was very nice recitation and reading by Yashwant. How old are you, Yashwant?
10.
Wow, that was so nice. Thank you so much. Will you come again sometimes?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Yashwant. Thank you. Thank you, Drishti Mataji, once again. So we'll share the verse for the day. Yes, so verse number 20, chapter 3, canto 1. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Text 20. Avatare Shodashame Pashyan Brahmadruho Nripan Trisapta Kritava Kupito Nikshatra Makaron Mahim. Word for word translation. Avatare, in the incarnation of the Lord. Shodashame, the 16th. Pashyan, seeing. Brahma Druhaha, disobedient to the orders of the Brahmanas. Nripan, the kingly order. Tri Sapta, thrice 7 times. Kritva, had done. Kupita, being engaged. Nihi, negation. Shatram, the administrative class. Akarot, did perform. Mahim, the earth. Translation. In the 16th incarnation of the Godhead, the Lord as Bhrigupati annihilated the administrative class Kshatriyas 21 times, being angry with them because of their rebellion against the Brahmanas, the intelligent class. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Kshatriyas, or the administrative class of men, are expected to rule the planet by the direction of the intelligent class of men, who give direction to the rulers in terms of standard shastras, or the books of revealed knowledge. The rulers carry on administration according to that direction. Whenever there is disobedience on the part of the Kshatriyas or the administrative class against the orders of the learned and intelligent Brahmanas, the administrators are removed by force from the posts, and arrangement is made for better administration. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanutam Tam Sajivam Dadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanutam Sri He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणम्। Krishna, see blessings of all the devotees online today. Thank you so much for being here on this Friday evening. You could have done so many other things, but your taste for Bhagavatam is so nice and so profound that you are here today. Thank you so much. And with your blessings, maybe I'll be able to speak something useful for everyone. So the translation once again. In the 16th incarnation of the Godhead, the Lord as Bhrigupati annihilated the administrative class, Kshatriyas, 21 times, being angry with them because of their rebellion against the Brahmanas, the intelligent class. So Bhrigupati here is the Lord Parshuram. Bhrigupati means he is coming in the lineage of the great sage Bhrigu. Pati, Bhrigupati, Pati is the protector. Like we have Raghupati, Yadupati, like that. Lord Ram is also called as Raghupati. Lord Krishna is Yadupati. So Lord Parshuram appeared in the Bhrigu lineage. And he appeared particularly for a task that Kshatriyas had gone a bit too proud, and they were against the rules of the scriptures, the Shastra. The Shastra and Shastra, they are in the same dhatu, Shas. This means the ruling. The ruling of the Shastras is done through the ruling of the Shastras. Shastras, the weapons used by the Kshatriyas. So together, Shastra and Shastra used to, rule the people of the world so that everyone was benefited. But when the Shastras are without the Shastras, the Lord has to appear personally to annihilate these miscreants. Once again, there is a similar reference we would have discussed previously from another devotees where it was mentioned about the story of Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj was the son of Vena, but he came from the body of Vena after Vena was dead. Vena was killed by the Brahmanas because Vena was pretty much overruling the Brahmanical directions, and he was critical. In fact, he stopped all the sacrifices, and he banned in his kingdom. So the rishis had to do the obvious, and they did. Just with a single humkara, it says that they killed when Brahmanas are so powerful. And from him, the Prithu Maharaj appeared. So these stories, similar stories are are there in this Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Parshuram is also called Rama. Parshu means he was carrying a chopper, so chop. So Parshuram, one who was carrying a chopper, that's Parshurama, Rama who carried Parshu. So Parshuram's father was Jamadagni. We're going to speak a little bit about the lineage. We will speak a little bit about the pastimes of the Lord as in the Shaktavesh avatar of Parshuram. Then we will try to cover a few lessons that we can learn from this pastime in our own lives. So we have about 30 minutes or so, 40 minutes maybe. So we'll try to do as much. So Parshuram was the son of Jamadagni. Jamadagni was the son of Rishi. Coming from Bhrigu dynasty, Bhrigu was the mind-born son of Lord Brahma. From Bhrigu came Chavana. We know about the famous Chavana Prash. So Chavan Rishi was that. He had received the benediction from the Ashwini Kumaras. So he revived his youth by the aushadis, the medicinal herbs provided by the Ashwini Kumaras and the various other procedures that was done. So the son of Chavan was Urva, Urva's son was Aurava, and then Aurava's son was Richik. This Richik Rishi married the daughter of a king, Gadi. Gadi was, and Gadi's daughter's name was Satyavati. And this king Gadi was coming from the Soma or the lunar dynasty. As Prabhupada explained, there are two dynasties mainly described in the Srimad Bhagavatam during the time of Vaivashvata Manu. So there is solar dynasty from where Lord Ram appears in, and Lord Krishna appeared in the Yadu or the lunar dynasty. So this Gadi was son of, actually there was many generations before. Janu Rishi also came in the same lineage. Does anyone know about the Rishi Janu and his special pastime about Janu? Why is Mother Ganga called Janava or Janvi? Does anyone know? When the king Bhagirath was bringing Ganga Devi, Ganga river in the form of river, to so that his ancestors could be liberated. That time when Ganga was passing through the Janu's ashram, it inundated the whole ashram. So Janu was performing tapasya and he was a little bit angry. So he sipped the whole Ganga, inside. And then Bhagirath was worried again. So he just prayed to Janu after a lot of effort, many generations of effort. Ganga Devi had, agreed to come on the earth planet. So Janu, after receiving that, prayers from Bhagirath, then allowed Ganga again to flow through. So that's how Ganga, one of the name for Ganga is Janu. So Janu was the son of Vijay, and Vijay was the, son of Pururava. There's a story that we'll discuss of Pururava, who's the son of Buddha, and Buddha was the son of Soma. Soma is the same as the moon god is called Soma, who was the son of Atri, and Atri is the son of Lord Brahma, like Bhrigu and the Saptarishi who appeared from Lord Brahma's mind. So this Buddha was actually the son of Soma from the wife of Brihaspati, Tara. We'll not go into that detail, but yes. So there was some arrangement through which the Buddha was born by the Soma. And then this Buddha had a son called Pururava. We'll discuss a little bit about him. So Pururava actually was born as Ela. Sorry, he was the son of Sudimna, or also Ela. So Buddha was performing tapasya in one of the, or performing austerities in one of the forest, and this Sudimna, and Sudimna happened to be, sorry, a little bit more lineage histories today. So Sudimna is the also called Leela because he was born as the daughter of Shraddhadev, who was the Vaivasvata Manu we discussed a few days ago, and and he was the son of Vivashwan and the sun god. So this Sudimna was actually born as Leela because when Vivashwan son Shraddhadev didn't have any progeny, he performed some yagyas by the help of Rishi Vashishta and the other priest. So he wanted to get a son, but somehow just when the offerings were going to be made, the wife of Shraddhadev, or Vaivasvata Manu, Shraddha actually desired to have a daughter. So she narrated to the priest that, please, I need a daughter. So just at that time when the priest was making the offering, he spoke the words from which the daughter Ela came. But then Manu was a bit sad with that, so he again appealed or made a request to Vashishta that please do something. So then Vashishta performed some worships, and then Ela was changed to Sudimna. Actually, what happened again was this same Sudimna, once upon a time, was going into a forest, and that forest had a particular how do you say, blessings or whatever, because from Lord Shiva, that whoever entered in that forest would convert into a female body. So Sudimna was going with his friends and his army men, and as soon as they entered this forest, the Sukumar forest, they turned into female bodies. And the other thing is, not only they turned into female bodies, they completely forgot their past as well as to who they were and where they came from. Sudimna turned into a beautiful woman, and all the others as well, even the horses turned into mares, it said. The Sudimna then he had lost his memory, so he was going around in the forest and traveling from one forest to other forest, trying to find where to go. And one of the forests where this Buddha was performing austerities, he happened to see her, Sudimna, in that female. He got attracted, and then they married, and then together they had his son, Pururava. And but then Sudimna also somehow revived his memory, and by the blessings of Vashishta, again, Vashishta performed some worshipping of Lord Shiva. So Sudimna could do 1 month in a male body and 1 month in a female body, like that. And then Pururava, his son, was, once Sudimna had retired, Pururava became the king. And Pururava got actually attracted to, there was some story where, he married Urvashi when she was on the earthly planet, and they had lots of sons. And one of the sons was Vijay. From Vijay, the son Janu came, and from many generations after the Gadi came. So sorry, coming back to the story today. So Gadi had a daughter called Satyavati, and he wanted to marry his daughter to a Kshatriya, or a brave king, or so. But this Rishi Richika somehow wanted to marry Satyavati. So the Gadi understood this. Richika wants to marry his daughter Satyavati, but he was not very pleased because he was not sure whether this sage who lives very austere in a forest will be able to provide for his daughter. So Gandhi put a a tough condition to say that whoever marries my daughter, they will have to bring in dowry 1,000 white horses with one ear black, one ear in the black color, so which is very unique. Nobody could have meant that. So, but Richika, was a very powerful sage, so he performed um, some worshipping for Varuna Dev. The Varuna gave him the horses. So he took the horses to the King Gadi, and Gadi then had no reason to say no. So he married his daughter Satyavati. So Satyavati once married, and after many years, when it was the right time to have a progeny, then Richika Rishi performed some yajna. And at the same time, this Gadi did not have a son as well. So his wife, who was Satyavati's mother, and she also said she should receive a son. So she convinced Richika to also do the offering for her. So as Richika was performing the yajna, and he had prepared the offerings, one for his wife Satyavati, other for his mother-in-law, and then he went to the river to take a bath just before giving the offering finally to the two ladies. So, but in his absence, Satyavati's mother thought that maybe, obviously husband, will be more favoring his wife. So Satyavati must have some better offering than what she has. So she convinced her daughter to say, you see, you would be more happy to see your brother as a strong rather than your own son. So why don't we exchange this offering? So Satyavati, being the nice daughter of her mother, agreed, and they exchanged. And even before Richika could come back to the yajna, they took the honored the offering. But then as soon as Richika arrived, he could understand what really happened. So he was very angry with his wife. So why did you do that? So I had prepared special offering so that your son would be a great Brahmana, and your mother's son, who was the wife of a king, and she would have got a great Kshatriya. Now you swapped it. So as a result, you will have a fierce Kshatriya, and she will have a Brahmanical son, which is not correct because they're two different natures. Brahmins don't like to rule, and a Kshatriya in the son in a family of a Brahman is not appropriate. So Satyavati was very sad, and she said, "Please do something." And then somehow Richika said, "Okay, not you, not your son, but your grandson will be a fierce Kshatriya." So that grandson is Parshuram, and Richika's son was Jamadagni. And so Jamadagni was living in the forest, and he had a beautiful cow, Kamadhenu cow, who could feel. Kamadhenu is like wish fulfilling. She could produce anything, any amount of ghee and lots of food, whatever it was, like it's a wish fulfilling. Kamadhenu, Dhenu is the cow, and Kama is wish, so whatever desired. But obviously, this Jamadagni, happened to be a Brahmin, very pious, religious. He's doing the only reason he has the Kamadhenu is so that he can perform his yajna, so he gets the right ghee, which is required for the yajna. So he was Agnihotri Brahmin, so who has to perform his fire sacrifices every day. So he needs lots of ghee. So he had that, and he had many sons. From his wife Renuka, who was the daughter of the sage Renu. And Renuka's, of the many sons, Parshuram was the younger son. So they were living their life happily, but then something interesting happens. There is this Kartaviri Arjuna comes in the picture. Kartaviri Arjuna was very powerful. Actually, he had all the opulences, and he was, strong body, beautiful, lots of riches, and he had also performed some tapasya, some austerity, some yogic siddhis also. He had all the 8 yogic siddhis, Sanima, Lahima, Mahima, and Prapti, and all those, whatever. So he could do anything, and he was extremely powerful. In fact, there's one story about him that he was one time playing in the river Narmada, and with all the ladies that he had, all his wives, and to to show off his prowess, what he did was he stopped the water of the river, and somewhere back, our Ravana was performing a worshipping of the Shivalinga there, and suddenly what happened on the bank of Narmada. So when Kartaviri Arjun actually stopped the water, it is said that the water just like a dam, he put his hand there and the water can't move. If the water can't move ahead, that means the water, goes back, and all the force of the water turns back. And what happens, this Ravan, when he's performing his puja, the water just overflows and inundates everything. It floods the whole of his preparation. So Ravan becomes very angry. He realizes someone is doing this, so goes ahead and challenges Kartaviri Arjun. Kartaviri Arjun is very powerful. It is said in the Bhagavatam that he actually bound this Ravana like a monkey. Within no time he just defeated him. Very insultingly, just bound him and put him in the jail. And after a lot of effort, he had to be he could be released by some senior intervention. Ravan could be released. So this Kartaviri Arjun was very, very powerful, and obviously with the power comes the pride. So he happened to be going around in the same forest where Jamadagni used to live, and he was with all his ministers, and the kings go for hunting. So he was going with his people, the army men, and the animals and horses and everyone. And as he was in the forest, he finds this ashram of Jamadagni. So he goes there and asks for some water or some food, and Jamadagni welcomes him. So yes, you're the king. You must come in, and we will be very happy to serve you. And then he invites them all inside, how many ever they were. And Jamadagni has this Kamadhenu cow, so he gets all the foods, very nice offerings made in nice aromatic ghee, and many preparations he brings in for the king and all these army people, all the militaries, and the animals. He feeds everyone just with this cow. And Kartaviri Arjun is actually astonished. He's saying, how come this Brahmana living in a forest has so much, and how is he able to feed us so nicely? Where is he bringing all this from? So he becomes initially a little bit curious as to find out what happened. Then he finds out that he has a cow, and the cow can produce so much. Now Kartaviri Arjun, instead of being grateful, so he received such a nice reception from the sage. Instead of being grateful for what he has received, he became envious. So this is one nature that we can learn from Kartaviri Arjun, is that he had all the power that anyone can think of. Extremely powerful, riches. He was a king, yogi. He had whatnot. But then the problem with the pride is, the problem with all the opulence is that he was proud as well. And with the false pride, it destroys all the good qualities. And when he could tie up, Ravan like a monkey, so what to speak of any other living, any other human. So he could not care less about anyone. So he had become like the pride, proud, very proud person. And one of the qualities or the knowledge And Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Adhamitvam, Amanitvam, Adhamitvam, Ahimsa, Shantit, Ajavam, of the many items of the knowledge. So Adhamitvam is the, with no pride. But this Kartavira Arjuna was so proud and so envious of the sage. Sage only uses the cow for the purpose of, for his yajna sacrifices. But Kartavira Arjuna said, I must have this cow. And he says to the sage, you see, this cow must be given to me because I am the king and I need this cow for my people. And Jamadagni says, you see, I only have this cow, this is my only possession, and I use this cow to get some milk, to get some ghee, so I can perform my fire sacrifices. You can't take this cow from me. And the cow was also very sad to get go to the king. But Kartavira Arjuna was, obviously he was the king. He had the army men. And at that time, Parshuram was not at home somehow, and this king, ordered his people to take the cow along with the calf. So they took the cow along with the calf and they left for their capital, Mahismati. And in the meantime, Parshuram comes back and he finds that his father is sad, and then he finds out from his mother that this king had come and he's taken the cow and the calf. So Parshuram became very angry. He was extremely said that he was angry like a snake. So he took his chopper, Parsa, and his bow and arrow and all the weapons that he had, and he started to follow this king Kartavira Arjuna. As he was following, he enters into the capital city. Kartavira Arjuna realized that he's coming, so he sends his 17 Akshahoni Sena, as he said that, to fight with Lord Parshuram. Parshuram, Bhagavatam says, was fighting at the speed of mind. Like mind, the speed of mind is we can think of the place and we can be there. But that's the speed of mind. And Lord Parshuram, with all his weapons, he was alone. He wiped out the 17. The Akshahani is a very large number. We can't even discuss as such a large numbers. It's all given in the Bhagavatam, how big that number is, how many elephants and horses and the men and all sorts of fighters in there. So Parshuram alone destroyed everyone. The Kartavira Arjuna got very angry. So he starts to now fight Parshuram. And he is, like it is said, he had 1,000 arms. With 1,000 arms, he had like 500 bows, and he puts the arrows and he starts to shoot at Parshuram. And Parshuram, obviously, is being the Saktivis avatar of the Lord, he took out his bow and arrow with his speed. He could just destroy all the bows of Kartavira Arjuna, and very soon he destroyed. He chopped off all his arms and finally he killed him, and he brought the cow and the calf back. So I was reading I was just written one thing about Prabhupada says very nice. Prabhupada says in one of the purports, one may possess unusual opulence in this material world, but if one becomes puffed up and acts whimsically, he will be punished by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the lesson to learn from this history, in which Lord Parshuram became angry at Kartavira Arjuna and killed him. And when he came back home and he brought the cow and the calf, I'm just going to be quick, so there's so much. His father, Jamadagni, was happy to see the cow and calf, but then when Parshuram said what he did, he killed the king. Jamadagni was not very happy. He said, no, you should not have done that, my son. My dear son, we are all Brahmanas, and we have become worshipable for our quality of forgiveness. So this quality we should never forgive. We should not forget. We should not have done that. We should not have killed the king, who is the representation of the Supreme Lord. So it is not right that what you have done. And this quality of forgiveness is what is making Lord Brahma, the great. And Srila Prabhupada then quotes a very nice quote from Chanakya Pandit, and he says the different how the different things or qualities beautify different entities. Like cuckoo bird is, although is very black, is beautiful because of its sweet voice, and a woman is more beautiful by her chastity, and the brahmanas are similarly beautiful by their quality of forgiveness. So so this quality of forgiveness is something that we can learn in our life as well from this, from the purport and the words of Srila Prabhupada, that it is very important. Like if the Brahmanas' quality is for forgiving, then obviously the Vaishnavas are the Brahmanas and more. So it is said that a Vaishnava forgives even before the offense is committed. So that's repeating, a Vaishnava forgives even before an offense is committed. That means Vaishnava never feels offended. And we should always hear, like forget and forgive. This is very frequently used in our discussions. We just have a devotee always forgets, and like Haridas Thakur just was willing to forgive. Jesus Christ was willing, he was begging to the Lord, Lord, please forgive them. They know not what they're doing. And all the great devotees of the Lord have this quality of forgiveness. Ambarisha was praying for forgiveness of the Durvasa, and Prahlad was praying for forgiving his own father Hiranyakashipu. So there's so many examples that we learn. But this quality of forgiveness is something that we, as devotees, we should build in our hearts, even if someone has done wrong. It is our ornament is to forgive others, not to go in the vengeance. But what happened is Kartavirya's sons, the 10,000 sons, they got angry and they were very vengeful. So when Jamudagani actually in that chastisement asked Parshuram to go for pilgrimage for 1 year. So Parshuram, he went for pilgrimage. In the meantime, there's one more little pastime I would say. What happened is after 1 year he turned back, and then Jamudagani was everything was as usual. So Jamudagani used to perform his sacrifices every day. So one time he asked his wife Renuka to fetch water from the river, that she would do every day anyway. So one time as she went to the river to fetch water, there was these Gandharvas who were also happened to be in that river, and they were with all the Apsaras and Gandharvas, they were playing, the sporting in the water. And Renuka, looking at the Gandharvas, she got really like amazed at what they were doing, how handsome or beautiful they were, and she got delayed in that process. So when she came back, Jamunagani, being the sage who could see it all, I could very well understand why she was delayed. She got distracted watching the Gandharvas. So Jamdagani gets very angry. He asked all his sons to kill their mother because she's become unchaste. And but the sons would not, they would not kill their mother. So they said, no, father, we can't do this. And then Parshuram is the youngest, so Jamdagani asked Parshuram to kill his mother and also the brothers because they did not obey or disobeyed their father. So Parshuram, knows what is possible and what can be done. So he actually killed his own mother and brothers. And Jamdagani was very happy to see that Parshuram has done what exactly he wanted him to do. So Jamdagani, he asked him to, ask Parshuram for a boon. So to take whatever boon he would like. And Parshuram, he already had this plan. So he says, yes, father, I would like to only receive this boon, that you please revive my mother and my brothers, and they should also not have a memory of what happened. So Jamdagani, very pleased with Parshuram, he revived Renuka and all the brothers of Parshuram, and they actually had no memory. They felt like they had a little sleep or something. So Kartaviriya Arjun, in the meantime, his son, so he was dead. His sons, 10,000 sons, were really looking for an opportunity to take revenge, and they wanted to give Parshuram the same pain that they've gone through. So they're finding the right opportunity when Parshuram was not at home. All the sons came and they actually killed Jamnagan. They chopped off his head and they took the head to their capital. And Renuka, when she saw her husband being killed, she was so much in distress. She called for Parshuram, Rama, and brothers, other sons. So they were in the forest at the time, away, but they could hear their mother's voice in distress. So they came back running and saw what really happened. And Parshuram was angry this time, very angry. So he went to the capital of this Hayayas, the dynasty that Kartivirya Arjun belonged to. He went to the Mahishmati and he just killed all these sons of Kartivirya Arjun. And then he not only killed all the sons, he also went around and he said that, as he said also in the verse, he annihilated the Kshatriyas, rulers for 21 generations, 3 times 7. Like every time there was a king, he would kill them. So the way it used to be like that is someone would only become a king, a prince will become a king in those days only after he's married. As soon as the prince was married after becoming king, Parshuram would kill them. Likewise, he just destroyed 21 generations, and then he pretty much ruled in one sense the whole of the land. And once he's done that, and what he would do is he would then distribute all the lands to Brahmanas, and finally he retired in the Mahindra mountains. And then after giving all the land to the Kshatriya, there's a little bit of pastime also in Ramayana when Parshuram meets Lord Ram. And actually in Ramayana there's also similar pastime of Vishwamitra and Vasishta as well. So don't have much time. So yeah, Vasishta also had a Kamadhenu cow, which he took away. But cow was so strong that she produced from her udders lots of these Sena, the fighters, and somehow destroyed Vishwamitra's army. Vishwamitra was so amazed, and with the power of Vasishta, he wanted to become a Brahma Rishi. Vishwamitra was son of the Gadi that we discussed before. So this is 50 verses. So today, obviously, this is the Kali Yuga. We don't have these powerful king. We have all these, as the 12th canto of Bhagavatam explains what's going on in the world today. We have all these unruly administrators, rulers of the 3rd and the 4th categories, and how they are, destroying the Vedic culture, how they're destroying the cows, and there's so much annihilation of the dharma is already happening. Lord Chaitanya has appeared actually to give us the holy name, because there's nothing else that can work in today's time. Actually, one time when Jagai Nitai, Jagai and Madai, they heard Lord Nityananda, Mahaprabhu wanted to kill them, so he called for his Sudarshan. And Nityananda Prabhu then said, "My Lord, this is not the purpose. This time in Kali Yuga, you have appeared to give them the love and the holy name. If you have to kill with this behavior, you will probably have to kill every single individual in this Kali Yuga. So in this Yuga, what is the Dharma, Yuga Dharma is a chanting of the holy name. And you appeared to give the Prema, Krishna Prema to everyone." So that's 2050. Thank you very much for your patience. That was a long story, lots of lineages. I stop there for any questions or discussion for 5-10 minutes, if any.
Hare Krishna, Shyam, Hare Prabhu. Thank you for the narration.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Which canto is it? I can't really seem to.
It's the 9th canto. 9th canto, 15th and 16th chapter is Lord
Yeah,
Parshuram.
okay. We are on 8th canto at the moment, so yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's 9th canto. Yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
9th canto, first 12 chapters, Shukadeva Swami explains the dynasties of the Surya.
Hmm.
And after 14, 15 chapters, he starts to explain the Luna dynasty as part of this conversation. This appears.
Thank you. The king who came and took away the Kamadhenu.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, but he was so angry. He kind of wanted to fight with our Bigabati, but that was not a right thing to do. So what did Parshuram do? That was the right thing, because
Yeah.
who stole him the cow, and father said, yeah, go on. So it wasn't wrong thing. Why the king behaved like that?
Yes, so that's interesting. So Lord, this is why Parshuram is the Sakyavis avatar. He is the empowered incarnation of the Lord. So he appeared for the specific purpose. But Jamlagni being in a Brahminical nature, for him forgiveness was more important. So that's why he forgave. Like Vasishtha also forgive Vishwamitra so many times. So from his point of view, forgiveness was right. From the Parshuram's point of view, and both are right sometimes.
Yes, both were right in their
Both
own.
were right, yes. But Parshuram being, although, Lord incarnation, he listened to what his father asked him to do, and he went for the repentance to all the holy places.
I mean, what else could he do? I mean, father said, go and, do
Yeah,
something about the cow. So that's all he could do. Otherwise, there wasn't any other he could do for his
he was,
father.
yeah, he was very devoted to his father, and that's for his father alone he did all this.
Mm.
And obviously, the purpose was because Kshatriya, the Kartaviri Arjun, what is more interesting, he had like everything that anyone could imagine. He bound around like a monkey, he said. Yeah. He was so powerful. He had all the opulences, he had, all the 6 opulences you can think of. He had the yogic powers as well. Like one of the yogic powers is Prapti. Prapti means he can, with his yogic
Get
siddhi, he
anything.
can get anything he wants anyway. But then he was envious because, yes, I can do it. How come this Brahmana sage can do all this? How can he be more
Jealous.
opulent than me? This is the envy. And this is
Jealous.
the problem that we can also, develop sometimes. Because we may have something, or we may not have something. Some other devotee may have some quality that we may not have, or we may have something. Everyone is gifted with one or the other quality. But the envy comes when we think that, oh, someone is probably able to sing good or better, and I wish I had that. That's one thing. Actually, Maharaj says one very nice thing. Actually, envy does not come when, let's say, someone is a good cook, or someone who can cook very nicely for the Lord, and someone can sing very nicely with the Lord. There won't be any envy between the cook, and the one who's singing. But if someone is also singing, and one singer gets more appreciation, then that's when the real envy starts. How is better than me? This can happen. This is our purification process. Envy is the last thing to go. Prabhupada says, once we can overcome envy, we made it. So,
Thank you. Thank you for the nice. Thank you very much.
okay, Sailesh Prabhu said something. Hare Krishna, thank you for detailed history. Forgiveness is key quality, but all these personalities don't demonstrate that quality, especially Muni, who was personalized gangs, may only because of, I suppose, Janu Muni. Okay, that means Janu, who penalized Ganga Mai only because of flow caused disturbance to his tapasya. Why do they behave like this? What is the lesson for us? Yes, very nice. So these rishis are very powerful. They are performing tapasyas, but the quality of forgiveness is the highest. So it is hard, for Janu Muni was very powerful. Actually, he was also in the lineage of Kshatriyas, but he was performing tapasya and austerities. So it is said all his whole of his ashram was inundated in the water. So yeah. So why do they behave like this? What is the lesson? For us, lesson is the same. You know, we have to just, the lesson is this, exactly this, that we should be forgiving. At the same time, Bhagavatam is not, for example, I'll go back to the story of Parikshit Maharaj also. Like Parikshit Maharaj, what he committed was a very small offense by all means. Like he put a death snake, and then the little boy Shringi was so angry and he cursed. Parikshit Maharaj could have easily reversed that, and he could have counter cursed and all that, but he accepted that, so he forgave that. And if you see, like Draupadi is the is the best character I ever think of forgiveness. Just imagine, all her sons were killed by Ashwatthama, and as soon as she sees Arjun tying Ashwatthama and bringing to her, she just she forgets everything, and she says, please release him, release this Brahmana, and I don't want another mother to go through the same pain that I'm going through, so please release this Brahmana. So she immediately forgets her own pain and asks forgive this person. So and then there are so many examples, Amarish Rishi, and we talked about Haridas Thakur, willing to forgive. There's all the quality like we have in the Gopal Chapel, in Mahaprabhu's Leela, so many examples where devotees would forgive. Actually, Shiva Thakur, actually, when he was being blasphemed for being a Shakta and being a pretender, he comes out and says to everyone, yeah, actually I'm a pretender. I'm not a devotee of Lord Krishna. I'm just a pretender. So the quality of devotees that we see is always forgiving. So for us, this is the lesson, I think, Shailesh. We try. It's not easy. We try. Draupadi is the best example. Yes, it's amazing. There's so many examples. Right? That's something extraordinary. She lost her father, her brother, all her sons, everyone. She went through so much. Even then, she was willing to forgive. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Actually, it's for our own benefit. I think we need to forgive.
Yes, Mataji, thank you
For
so much.
our own benefit. Yeah.
Yes, then we can do Kirtanya Sadahari.
Yes.
Amanina, Manadena, Kirtanya Sadahari.
Yeah. I think Krishna also puts the devotee in a position to test. I think that's when we need to do our test well, to be forgiving. Otherwise, it doesn't stop anywhere. It's just one of the best to be Vaishnava, to forgive. Yes.
Yes, vengeance, there are stories in Bhagavatam where generation after generation the fight goes on, because if someone is not forgiven, they come back and they fight again and again. So we can be here forever in this material world if we didn't forgive.
Yes, correct. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Mani Mataji.
Prabhuji, I remember one of Radhanath Swami's a comment, or I don't know what to say, but he, not about forgiveness, but about anger. I remember that he said, when you get angry, who gets hurt first? You are the one. You get hurt first because you are the one who get angry. So, and then the opposite person will get hurt. So, like that's why, to cultivate all these, good qualities, it's going to help us to advance in our Krishna consciousness. So we need to, cultivate all these qualities. They said, without any reason, we shouldn't get angry. And like forgiveness, like the small things, if you get angry, actually what you get, when you get angry, like in Bhagavad Gita, it says, Krodhat bhavati sammoha, smriti bhramshat. Smriti bhramshat buddhinaso, buddhinashat pranashti. Means when you get angry, we lost our, memory, we lost our, thinking power and then we lose everything. So So
Yes, I think
that's true.
there's only like one, measurement is when we chanting in the morning. This is how I kind of practice and say what's disturbing the mind most. And if we are angry or not forgiven anyone, the mind will be taken over. We can't chant, and our whole purification process is about chanting. If you can't chant with attention, then we're not going to get anywhere. Attentive chanting is required. Yes, our 16 round, but also attentive chanting.
True.
Remember very early days
But
when
it is very difficult. We all are trying.
that's our adhana, that's our tapasya. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. It's 9 o'clock. Thank you so much, dear devotees. All
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank
That kind of forgiveness is very difficult to find in the material world, because is in Draupadi's case is a divine energy coming from Krishna. So although there have been cases in this material world where people have had their loved ones killed and they forgive the perpetrator.
Yeah, yes.
So it can happen, but it's a very difficult thing to overcome.
Very difficult, Mataji. Yes.
Very, very difficult. I think you go through different stages. Originally, you'll be angry and you want to revenge. But, if you have got that kind of peace and calm, you can develop it gradually.
In a very nice saying in the Krishna book, Prabhupada quotes, a greatness of a person can be assessed by his ability to tolerate the provoking situations. It's a very beautiful statement by Srila Prabhupada. So that's our, as he's saying, that's our test. When the provoking situation comes, then what happens? Are we able to tolerate or not? That's what Prabhupada says. Greatness of a person can be assessed, can be understood by his ability to tolerate the provoking situations, in all situations, and greed, in anger, in lust.
Yeah.
So the lower moods, we get actually, attracted to the lower moods by
Yeah, we're so conditioned in it. Oh,
it is hard. It is sadhana. It is sadhana. I think it is all about our. I go back to the same thing. Our desire to chant nicely. For that desire, which is actually the only selfless devotional service, it is said is the chanting. Everything else it has some some selfish motive, but the chanting is completely selfless. We are chanting, and there is no other ulterior motive. And as Salish Prabhu was saying a few days ago, and that should be the our own test. To say, okay, this is disturbing my sadhana, so I will stay away from this thought, or that thought, or this kind of emotion, that emotion, whatever comes, in the middle of that, chanting. We should just.
Very, very true.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
So what I now my realization after hearing the class, that if I think that my chanting is really good and things like Krishna just gives you that little bit. Let's see how you deal with it.
It is
He puts that into the test. He puts that into the okay. Deal with this. Let's see how you do. Then whether your chanting is good or not.
Yeah. Not only what he was saying, Krishna is happy with our struggle. We're thinking that we are failing, but he is happy that we are trying.
Yeah.
So he's devotee was saying very nicely, very hopeful, that saying, yes, we may not be able to chant, but we are trying our best. And Krishna is only looking at that. It's a sincere, attempt to try, sincerity.
Very true, very true.
Sarish Prabhu's concluding words, Srila Prabhupada says, see a person who has hurt us as someone who is teaching us lessons and purifying us from our past misdeeds, then we can forgive easily. Yes, Prabhu, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Grantara Srimad Bhagavata Purana ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Kalapatru Vyasya Kripa Samudaya Evacha Patita Anama
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Very nice class, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Jai Mataji.